Hello friends, you're welcome to Headroom Math Hub. In this special video, I'll be teaching you guys the basics of optics for your JAMB 2026 physics. I can assure you that at the end of this video, you'll be able to answer any question that comes under optics based on reflection of light and the basic aspects. So let's start with the basic definitions, okay? So optics in physics can also be called light, okay? Another aspect of it is light. You can call it light. So it can also be called light. So what is light? Okay, what is light? So this light, the definition is light is the visible form of energy. Okay, the visible form of energy that you can see. That's what is called light. Okay, so it is defined as the visible form of energy. That's what it's called light. Now, what are the properties of light? Like, what are the properties that are exhibited by light? The first thing to note is that light is a wave. Okay, it's a form of a disturbance. Okay, which travels from a particular medium. So, knowing that light is a wave, what kind of wave is light? So, light is called a transverse wave. I'm going to explain it. Don't worry, I'm going to explain it. Light is a transverse. It's a transverse wave. So what do I mean by light being being a transverse wave? First of all, what's a transverse wave? This is a wave that travels in a direction which is perpendicular to the direction of the particles of the medium. So let's assume the wave is going like this now. It's going like this direction of propagation of the wave, or direction of travel of the wave. The particles of the medium of that particular wave are moving up and down like this. They're moving up and down like this. These are how the particles of the medium are moving. So the wave is moving from maybe left to right, but the particles of that medium, as in of which the wave is made up, they are moving up and down. So they are at right angles. So the particles are moving this up, while the direction of propagation of the wave, the direction in which the wave is moving is like this. So you can see that both of them are at 90 degrees. So this kind of wave is called a transverse wave. And another thing to note is that light is an electromagnetic wave. What is an electromagnetic wave? This is a wave that does not require any material medium for its propagation. So a wave that does not need any material medium, like the wave can move from point A to point B without a material medium being in between point A and B. That kind of wave is called an electromagnetic wave. So light is an electromagnetic wave. So keep that in mind. Light does not require any material medium for its propagation. Also, the third one, light travels at the speed. It has a constant speed of 3 times 10 to the power 8 meter per second. So this is a constant speed of light. At times, you can see it in some textbooks. It's written like 3 times 10 to the power 5 kilometer per second. So this is because this kilometer here, it means 10 to the power 3. So they have expressed this, they have expressed this meter as kilometer. So it becomes 10 to the power 3. So keep that in mind. Another thing to note there is that what is the path along which light travels? Okay, so the path along which light travels is called a ray. So what is a ray? What is a ray? So a ray can be defined as the path along which light travels. And take note of the fact that light only travels in straight lines. Okay, light only travels in straight lines. You cannot see light moving like this, like a curve. Light only travels in straight lines. So it is called the rectilinear propagation of light. So you see light waves moving like this. And each of these lines like this is a ray. A ray. So when you have 2 or more lines like this, it becomes what is called a beam. So a beam is a collection of 2 or more rays. So this one like this itself alone is a ray. When I combine like 2 of it or 3 of it, it becomes a beam. So a beam is a collection of 2 or more rays, or a group of rays. So keep that in mind. Another aspect is that what are the types of optical objects. So you have types of optical objects. So these are objects that can either be maybe transparent, translucent, or opaque. So let's take the first one. Types of optical objects. The first one is transparent. Now, what is a transparent object? So a transparent object is an object that allows light to pass through it. Okay, it allows light to pass through it. Now, examples of such objects, you have water, maybe glass. These are all opaque. The next one is what is called, transparent objects are all transparent because they allow light to pass through. They're not opaque. Sorry for that mistake. Transparent objects allow light to pass through them. So examples are water and glass. Next one is opaque. So opaque. What are opaque objects? So these opaque objects, they do not allow light to pass through them. So objects that do not allow light to pass through them, those objects are called opaque objects. So we call them opaque objects. So examples of such opaque objects, you have things like maybe a book, your normal table, okay, maybe wall. They are all opaque. Light cannot pass through wall. So the next one is translucent. So translucent, their properties are halfway between opaque and transparent. They allow some amount of light to pass through. So example of this, something like clothes. Okay, all these fine lining clothes, or something like paper, or another one is nylon. So they can allow a little amount of light to pass through them. So they are called they are called translucent. So there are three types here. Transparent, we allow light to pass through completely. Opaque, we not allow light to pass through at all. White translucent, we allow some amount of light to pass through. So these kind of materials, you call them translucent. So examples of that are cloth, paper, and nylon. So I hope you understand that part. Then the next one we're going to look at is what is called luminous objects and non-luminous objects. Luminous objects. The next one is non-luminous objects. So ask yourself, what is luminous? So this word lumi, it means light. Anytime you see a word that starts with lumi, like illuminate, okay, illuminate, it means to bring light. So illuminate here, this lumi here, it means light. So luminous objects are objects that give out light. So this object, luminous objects, they are objects that give out light. They have their own natural source of light. They can give out their own light. So an example of such luminous objects, you have things like maybe the sun, the stars, maybe firefly. There's an insect called firefly. They call it pano in Yoruba. So the insect can like give out its own light. So it gives out its own light naturally. Not as if something is causing it to give out light. It's giving out its own light naturally. So we say it is a luminous object. But there's another set of objects called non-luminous. Non-luminous means they cannot give out their own light. They cannot give out their own light. They cannot give out light. So example of such object is moon. The moon does not give out light. At times you might see the moon shining at night. It's a lie. It's not giving out its own light. The moon is reflecting light from the sun. You understand? The moon does not shine on its own. That is why you don't see the moon during the daytime, like maybe 2 a.m. I said 2 a.m. Something like maybe 2 p.m., 3 p.m. in the afternoon, you cannot see the moon, but you see the sun because the sun is giving out its own light. It's luminous, but the moon is non-luminous. Okay, hope you understand. Other things that are also non-luminous, you have your wall. Wall is non-luminous. Your book is non-luminous and so on like that. Your book cannot give out light. So they are all non-luminous. Also, these luminous objects that I broke down, that we said these are objects that can give out their own light. Luminous object can also be broken down into two. This luminous object can be broken down into two. So the first one is you have natural luminous objects and artificial luminous objects. Now, what are natural luminous objects? These are objects that can give out light naturally, as in God made them like that. Okay, so you have sun and stars. These are two popular examples, sun and stars. They are natural luminous objects. But what are artificial luminous objects? These ones are man-made. Example, not necessarily man-made. It can also be natural, but be man like but it will be as in it will not be giving out the sunlight naturally. An example of that is moon. The moon is an artificial non-luminous object. Okay, so the next one, another example of luminous object that is man-made is phone. Your phone is made by man. It's not natural, but it gives out light. You also have candle. Apart from candle, you have light bulb. Light bulb. So light bulb, these three here, they are artificial, but they are luminous. So they give out light, but they are made by man. So keep all this in mind. JAMB asked a question like this in 2024 mock, where they said something like, which of the following is not a natural source of light? They put sun, stars, they now put moon. So the answer to that question was moon. Moon does not give out its own light, it only reflects light. Okay, so I hope you understand that part. Okay, now let's write on to the next part. The next part is shadows. This part is very, very important, so take note. Shadows. Shadows is very, very important. John normally asks question on shadows. So let's start. Shadows. So what are shadows? What is a shadow? You hear shadow, shadow, shadow. You don't hear shadow. What is a shadow? Now, a shadow is formed when an opaque object blocks the path of light. That's what we call shadows. When an opaque object, let's assume you are standing here. Look at you here. This is you here. You are standing here. And there's a light source. There's a light source in front of you. This source, this thing is bringing out light. It's in front of you. It's bringing out light like this. So the light is coming towards your face. Know that this light cannot pass through your body because you are not transparent now. A human being is not transparent. So if there's a wall at your back, this is a wall here. So because this light cannot pass through your body, it will not cause your shadow. It will cause your shadow or your image to appear on this wall. You understand? So shadows are formed when light cannot pass through an object. They are majorly formed by opaque objects. A transparent object cannot form shadow. Keep that in mind. A transparent object that allows light to pass through completely, it cannot form shadow. It is object that does not allow light to pass through that can form shadow. So take note, shadows are formed by opaque objects. So keep that in mind. So when light tries to pass through an opaque object, and if light cannot pass through, it will form a shadow. Keep that in mind. Now, there are two types of shadows. So your shadow can be broken down into two types. There are two types of shadows. So types of shadow, 1, 2. The first type of shadow is what is called umbra. Umbra. Say it with me, umbra. Umbra, let's go, my dear students, let's go. It's called umbra. The second one is penumbra. So people call it penumbra. Anyone, as far as you know the spelling. So the first type of shadow is called umbra. The second one is called penumbra. This umbra here is a very dark shadow. Very dark. As in black, like charcoal. Very dark shadow. That is what is called an umbra. This umbra, it looks like this. It will be very, very dark. Let me just use this green. Just imagine that this green is dark, something black. That's what this green is representing. And it is formed by a small light source. Anytime you have a light source, the source of light is small. You can see the source of light is very small. Then you see the rays coming from the objects. Coming from this source of light, sorry. This is the objects here. Then it will not form a shadow. This shadow will be very black. It will be very black. So imagine that this yellow here means black. I don't change the background of my template. So this red, just imagine that it is very, very, it means black. So this shadow will be very, very black. That's the shadow of this object here. So it will be very, very dark. So umbra is complete dark shadow, completely black. If you know this guy in your Mortal Kombat, you call him Noob Saibot. He's a character in Mortal Kombat. Very, very dark guys like Shadow, something like that. Okay, so take note of two facts. Umbra is a very dark shadow, and umbra is formed by a tiny light source. A tiny light source when the source of light is small. The next one is penumbra. Penumbra can also be called gray shadow. gray shadow, and it is formed by a large light source when the source of light is large. So if you want to experience this, just stand in front of a light source. Maybe you are standing here, for example, and there's a light source that is big, a light source, maybe like a street light. A street light, like let me say street light. This is a street light like this now, shining downwards, and you are standing here. You notice that a part of your body, your shadow around you, the shadow will be very, very black. While at another part, just around that same dark shadow, it will be very, very light. So in the center like this, you have a very dark shadow. The middle will be very, very dark. Then the ones at the side like this, those ones will be gray, or they'll be kind of not too dark and not too light. So those ones are called penumbra. While the ones in the middle that is very, very dark, you call it umbra. So this penumbra is partially dark shadow, gray shadow, not too dark. While umbra is dark shadow. Umbra can be formed by a small light source. Penumbra can be formed by a large light source. So keep that in mind. I hope you understand. So let's ride on to the next aspect. The next aspect is eclipse. So eclipse. Now, eclipse, from like the grammatical aspect, it means to block something when something is blocked. Okay, if you say maybe someone's destiny has been eclipsed, that means the person's destiny has been blocked by something. So eclipse, what causes eclipse and how does it occur? Eclipse is the obscuring or the blocking of the sun or moon such that they are not seen from the earth. So when the sun or the moon is blocked in such a way that you cannot see it from earth, then that means there's an eclipse. Take note, when the sun, not when the earth, when the sun or the moon is blocked or obscured in such a way that you cannot see it from the earth, then that means there's an eclipse. So that means there are two types of eclipse: eclipse of the sun and eclipse of the moon. This eclipse of the sun can also be called solar eclipse, while eclipse of the moon can also be called lunar eclipse. Okay, I hope you are following. Now let's take the first one. The first one here is solar eclipse. How does solar eclipse occur? Now this solar eclipse here, occurs when you have, let me give you a short formula, when you have SME. Okay, when you have SME. Now that S stands for the sun. Okay, S stands for the sun. The M stands for moon. Then the E stands for earth. Okay, so I hope you understand that part. This is a short formula. So when the moon lies in between the sun and the earth, you have what is called solar eclipse, or you can say eclipse of the sun. So you have the sun like this. The moon will now be inside in the middle of the sun and the earth. The earth will now be here like this. So this one here is what is called solar eclipse. This is how it occurs. So the formula is SME, SME. So once you remember SME, just know that it is eclipse of the sun. Now, since the moon is in between the sun, you can see the moon here, it is in between the sun and the earth. Then the shadow, I told you before that shadows are formed when light cannot pass through an opaque object. When light cannot pass through something to form the shadow of that thing at the back. So since the rays of this sun, cannot pass through the moon, it will not form the shadow of the moon. The shadow of this moon will not be formed on the earth. You understand? This place will not be dark. So human beings that are at this particular point of the earth, people that are here, they will not be able to see the sun. You understand? They will not be able to see the sun because it is obscured or blocked by the moon. The moon is blocking the sun. But people that are in other places might be able to see the sun. But people that are here do not see the sun. So people that are at this particular point here, people that are at this particular point, they are experiencing what is called total eclipse. Okay, that is the moon, the sun will not be seen at all. Why people that are at other places here, they might be experiencing what is called partial eclipse. They might be seeing part of the moon, the sun a little. Okay, that is because they are where they are, it's not completely blocked by the moon. Okay, so I hope you understand that one.